How y'all doing? Welcome to Mantle Motivations Podcast. As always, you know who it is. It's Dominique Bishop. I'm your host. Today, don't have an interview, but I wanted to do something a little different, and I want to tell you guys a little story, and just basically talk about an experience that happened to me um, in my 20s, my early 20s. And what I'm doing is I'm preparing to write a book. Go ahead, it's about time to get this thing out there. I've been working on my outline, and I'm taking it piece by piece. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take me, but I'm going to get it done. I'm gonna get it done. Don't know exactly when I'm gonna get it done, but I am going to get it done. But this is one of the stories that I'm gonna tell in the book. I'm gonna tell it in greater detail in the book, obviously, but I just wanted to give you all a little bit more of me. And I know I've been doing interviews with several different people, and I have more lined up, giving you their life stories and hearing about what they do. Um, them bringing in, some motivation to you guys and helping you out with some things. So I just wanted to give you a little bit more motivation from myself personally. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about the time I got a DUI. And basically, with this story, um, really what I want you guys to get is that everything happens for a reason. And I went through certain things in life that brought me to this point today. And certain things that happened when I was younger, I was able to apply those things to certain jobs or careers that I chose as I got older, even to now, this very day. So, the saying they say, what the devil meant for evil, God will turn it around and make it for good. And I truly believe that what happened to me during this DUI incident, with me even getting arrested and going to jail. I've In the long run, it helped me to be a better correctional officer and a better police officer, because the people that I dealt with every day, I had empathy for because I had been in their position. And that's important. You get a lot of people sometimes who are in those positions or in those careers who have never had handcuffs on them, who've never been arrested, who's never been behind bars, and they're just doing a job for a check or doing a job because you know their dad did it or somebody else in their family did it, or and they have a different outlook on it. Not to say that they don't have empathy, but I know there are some people that don't, and I've witnessed it firsthand how some people treat other people behind bars, or how you guys see it all the time, how cops treat individuals. So um, I gained so much empathy um, over my life through the incident I'm about to tell you all about. So I believe this incident that occurred to me helped me to be, like I said, a better correctional officer and a better police officer and a better person overall, just to have empathy. So let's go back to when I was 21, and we'll go ahead and get into it. So I'm in college at this time. It's 2007, and I went out to my friend's roller derby bout. Right? If you guys never have been to a roller derby before, or seen or heard anything about a roller derby, YouTube it, check it out. It's really fun. It's really cool. Um, but went out there to support a friend with a group of friends. After that, we went to this local bar in Chicago, and while we were there, they had drink specials. Right? They had Long Island's, and they had a lot of different drinks for, like, I think it was a 2 for 1 deal or half off or something. And then they had a buffet with finger foods and stuff, wings, little sandwiches and stuff like that you could nibble on while you drank. But the size of the Long Island glasses were like this size. And I purposely got this cup to show y'all how big the drinks were. So imagine somebody like myself, and back in 2007, I wasn't the size that I am now. I was probably like this big, right? Like I said, I was in college, so I was still playing soccer. Very athletic, very thin. I was probably weighing in about maybe 115 ish, right? Maybe 115 ish around there. So I did eat before I go out. I did eat before I went and hung out with them. But by the time we got to the bar, that was all gone because the derby bout was a couple of hours, right? So food's gone, you're hungry. I go in there, I start drinking. I'm slamming them back, big old glasses of Long Islands, not Long Island iced teas, Long Islands, right? So as I sip from my cup, or is it called a Long Island iced tea? I don't know. It's long, but you know what I'm talking about. It's the drink that got all the different drinks in it, mix it together, um, and you can barely taste the liquor. And the way this bartender was making these drinks, I could barely taste the liquor. Like it didn't taste like I was drinking a Long Island, but I saw him make it, so I know what I was drinking. But I was enjoying myself, hanging out with my friends at the bar. Good music was playing. We're laughing, hee hee and ha ha, eating food at the same time, trying to make sure I'm together. Right. So I think I had about, back to the reference cup, I think I had maybe two and a half, about three, almost two and a half to three of these Long Islands. After that last one, I was like, okay, I'm done. That's enough. So it was a friend's birthday party, and we left. We all got in our cars and left. And I was driving by myself. I was driving my own car. So we left from there, and we drove back to Northwest Indiana. And I think from the part of the Chicago that we were from, going back to Northwest Indiana, it had to be about 30, 40 minutes ish, right? So we get there to my friend's house, and happy birthday, good times. So I'm in there dancing. All of a sudden, it's a rush. Like I immediately felt the liquor, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I gotta sit down." So now my friends are asking me, like, "Are you okay? Are you good?" I'm like, "No, I'm drunk. Like I feel it to the point where I even got sick." So I went outside and I vomited a couple of times, right? So after that, normally after you do that, sometimes you feel better. And I had maybe a couple more shots, because you're feeling better. So you like, I'm cool, right? Had a couple more shots. And then I was like, all right, I'm done with liquor. Let me switch to water. So now I'm drinking water for the rest of the night. All right. And I'm still kind of feeling my liquor, but I'm not as bad as I was when I first got there. So now it's time to go home. And where we were at in Northwest Indiana and where I lived in that point, I lived in Calumet City, Illinois. So Hammond, Indiana, and Calumet City are right next to each other. Really, the borderline is splits them in half. So my drive from there to home was roughly about 15 minutes. So my friends were very concerned. They were like, "Are you sure you okay? We can drive you home. We can leave your car here, come back." I'm like, "Bro, I'm good. Like for real, I'm straight. I've been dancing. I've been up. I've been walking. I'm good. I ain't bumping into nothing. I ain't fell over. I don't even feel sick anymore. I'm good. I'm straight." So, I go ahead, hop in my car. It's only a 15-minute drive, right? I'm gonna be there probably faster than 15 minutes because I drive fast normally, and I knew the back roads and I knew which roads to take to not be seen by the cops. But anyway, so I'm on the main road and I'm making a left turn. And as I made a left turn, I had my cell phone in my right hand, left hand on the steering wheel. So a buddy of mine had just texted me. He's like, "Hey, I heard you were a little drunk. Let me know when you make it home. Please send me a text as soon as you get home." So I'm looking at it. I'm texting him back. "Sure, no problem. Got you." I take the phone in my right hand, go to put it in a passenger seat. At the same time, I'm moving this hand. I guess my body couldn't differentiate between my right and my left. So as I move in my right hand, my left hand is moving at the same time. It was almost like my whole body moved just so I could put my cell phone in the seat. Instead of just putting my phone in the seat, my whole body did like this. Next thing I know, now my head is down. Next thing I know, boom, what was that? Right? I drove and crashed into the back of an old school Astro van. You know, the big Astro vans that have like the ladder in the back and the big round spare tire. That's what I hit. And I bounced off of that thing, right? I bounced off of it so bad to the point where my car was halfway turned the other way. And I don't even recall going that fast. I think I was going the speed limit because, when you're driving under the influence and you're trying not to get caught, you drive the speed limit, right? But because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing, my whole body turned. I hit it right on the corner. Totaled my car. I mean, I had a 92 Corsica at that time. It was a gift from my family from when I turned 16. So I totally demolished that 92 Corsica, right? I got out. I'm drunk. I guess all of a sudden it like came back to me, and I got out of the car. I kind of stumbled out of the car because I'm a little, confused. Like, what happened? Oh my God, I just hit that car. Oh my God, look at my car. I see fluid leaking from my car, not realizing it's radiator fluid. And because I watched so many movies, I'm thinking fluid is leaking. My car is about to explode. So, all at the same time, watch out, Cooper. At the same time, get down, get down. At the same time, people were coming out of the houses on both sides of the street. They're coming out of the houses, running out because I guess the crash was so loud it woke everybody up. Now, mind you, this is in the middle of the night, right? Probably about 2, 3 o'clock, almost maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, and they're coming out, rushing out. Everybody sees it. I'm out there. I see the stuff looking from my car. Again, it's radiator fluid probably or something from the car. But again, I'm not I'm not, all together. So I'm like, my car is gonna blow up. So I remember this. It's crazy how I remember this. I'm telling people, back up, back up. It's gonna blow. The car is gonna blow. And everybody's looking at me crazy. And I remember as I'm walking away from my car, trying to get away from my car, this lady walks up to me and she's like, "Oh my God, are you okay, sweetheart? You okay?" And then it turns from concern to alert. And she's like, "Have you been drinking?" And I just look at her and I'm like, "Oh God." And so I just walk away from her. And she's like, "Don't let her leave. Don't let her leave." So I go and I sit on the curb. I just sit on the curb. I didn't know what to do. Then I was like, wait, my cell phone. So then now I'm already thinking the car is going to blow up, but I'm thinking about my cell phone. So then I get up, I go over to the car, I look for my cell phone. I can't find it. So then I go back and sit on the curb. Sure enough, the lovely police officers of Hammond, Indiana showed up. And of course, immediately they walked up to me, asking what happened. And I'm like, I hit something. Immediately in handcuffs, right? Immediately handcuffs. Like, didn't stop, go, didn't collect $200. Immediately in handcuffs. Clink, clink. I'm like, wait, I gotta call my grandma. I gotta call my grandma. Oh my God. So at that time, um, he graciously took the handcuffs off of me and was like, go ahead and make your phone call. And he went, I said, I can't find my phone. So he went in my car. One of the officers went in my car and he actually got my phone for me and handed me the phone. So instead of calling my grandma first, I called my friend. And she was still at the party. I called her and she's like, "Hey, you good? Did you make it home?" I'm like, "No, I just hit somebody." She was like, "Oh my God, where are you at?" I'm like, "I'm right around the corner." She's like, "I'm on my way. I'm on my way." I said, "Okay." And then I called my grandma and called my grandma. And I was like, "Grandma, I'm getting ready to go to jail." Oh my God. If you know me and you know how much I love and respect my grandmother, and having to call her and tell her, I mean, and I'm drunk and having to call her and tell her I just been arrested and I'm getting ready to go to jail killed me on the inside, right? I mean, completely killed me. So Uh, they arrest me. I go to Hammond PD. Yeah, my friend, she did show up before they took me away. I talked to her. I said, my grandma's coming. And she was like, you called your grandma? I was like, yeah. She even knew. She was like, I'll stay here with the car, this, that, and the other, whatever. And I'll stay here until she gets here to let her know where you went and all of that. So I spent the night in jail. So called my grandma again from the phone inside of the cell, and this was next morning. Now I went inside. Luckily, I was in there by myself. I slept off the liquor, woke up to a wonderful breakfast of black coffee and powdered donuts. Amazing. Thank you so much. But they gave me the sandwich. I didn't want to eat that sandwich. I didn't like it. But I was chumping down those powdered donuts and that black coffee. I was like, "Can I have some more?" So I called my grandma, and then I called my auntie trying to, get in contact with people. And finally, my grandmother answered the phone again. I said, I'm sorry, grandma, but is somebody coming to get me, or what's going on? She was like, how much is the bill? I told her how much it was. I don't remember how much it was at that time. I want to say maybe, I don't know. I don't want to lie to y'all. I can't remember how much it was. But of course it had a comma in it, right? So we know it was 1,000 something, maybe 2,000, something like that. And I will never forget this. My grandmother said, yes, I'm coming to get you after I get out of church. So mind you, right now it's like maybe about 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. She said she's coming to get me, but after she get out of church. My grandma wasn't gonna miss church. She needed some extra. She probably needed some extra prayer in order to deal with me when she came to bail me out, right? So sure enough, later on that afternoon, she comes and bonds me out, and she had one of the ladies from the church with her, and my brother. I was so embarrassed. OMG. Anyway, all right. Fast forward. So now we get a good lawyer, all this type of stuff. I'm on probation. I'm on probation. It was supposed to be a whole full year. Fast forward to November. I was supposed to be off of probation of um December of, let me make sure I'm get this right. I was supposed to be off of probation of, no, December of 2008, right? So November of 2008, I go in, and mind you, they put me on probation. I had to go to alcohol classes, and of course, you're on probation, you got to pay fees, right? Mind you, I don't have a car, so I'm traveling back and forth to Hammond, Indiana, from Calumet City on buses. Right, I had to take one bus to the metro station in Hammond, Indiana, hop on that bus, and then take that to the probation office, come right back, and then hop on another bus to get back home and do whatever I had to do. So everything I was doing during this time, I think for the next 7 years, like I was on public transportation. It took me a minute before I can get my own car again. I had to get back up on my feet. So, um, so yeah. All right. So make sure I stay on track here. I don't want to get too far off all over the place. All right. So I'm on probation. November of 2008. I go to the probation office, right? Told you, alcohol counseling, I'm doing that. Some of my fees, I was a little bit late on some of my fees, but I had a payment plan arranged. So I go to meet with the probation officer, and we started having a conversation about my fees. And I said, yeah, I'm working on a payment plan, and I have something for you today. And she kind of was like, this isn't enough. This isn't, you need to have more. And she was like, you know what? I'm tired of dealing with this. You need to go before the judge. And I was like, go before the judge for what? You need to go before the judge. So now they're placing me under the violation of probation. She has me go sit in the courtroom. I mean, all this stuff happens so fast, and I was trying to figure out, like, why is this happening? Why are you doing this to me? I'm like, I'm almost finished. I got one more month, and then I'll be done with everything. It made no sense. So she sits me uh in the courtroom. I'm waiting. Then I hear my name called. I go up before the judge. The attorney, he states the case. goes through this, blase, 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 says all this stuff. I wasn't paying my fees. I didn't complete alcohol counseling. And I'm standing there like, that's a lie. Like, this is what actually happened. So the judge, he looks at me and then he starts talking and he's like, hits the gavel and he's like, 45 days, I'll give you a 2-for-1 deal. You don't have to spend, no, it was like 90 days, but I'll give you a 2-for-1. So I only do 45. Next thing I know, the bailiff is coming and he's putting handcuffs on me and escorting me. And I'm like, can I say something? Can I speak up for myself? And they're like, no. What? So now I'm back in handcuffs again. So I'm sitting on the side waiting for them to finish. Then after that, they take us to, because they weren't ready to transport us yet. They take us back to Hammond Police Department. While I'm back in another holding cell, I have to call my grandma again. Like, bruh, this is killing me. I'm like, Grandma, they arrested me again. Now I'm crying. Grandma, they arrested me again. And she's like, for what? And I told her the whole story, and she was just like, Lord Jesus, it was bad. So the next morning, they get us up, get us ready for transport, and we head out to the county jail. Go to the county jail, y'all. When I tell you, this is one of the worst experiences of my life. And this is one of the reasons why I was such a good correctional officer and why I treated the inmates with so much respect. Not just because, of course, they're human beings and they should be treated with respect, but also because I've been where they're at. And when I tell you it was hard, it was hard. Being in a holding cell, I wasn't in there with just people who committed misdemeanors. I was in there with people who committed felonies, aggravated assault. Somebody had sliced somebody down. The girl was talking about it, wouldn't stop talking about it, right? And I was in there with a couple of prostitutes, a couple of druggies, stuff like that. But then it was the serious felonies that was concerning me. I wasn't going in there pumping my chest. No, no, no. I went in there and I sat down. Right? I just sat down, found me a corner, sat down. And unfortunately, while I was in there, um, one of the worst things that could happen, I came on my cycle. That's all I'm gonna say. If you're a woman, you understand. Being in a position where you don't have access to the things that you need, you can only imagine what happened to me, right? So we're hitting on the button. I'm hitting on the button. These correctional officers are not answering the button. I mean, like at all. And then they'll get on the button and what you want? What you want? And it's like, ma'am, I need some pads, please. Can you bring some pads up here, please? I'm on. I need something. All right, we'll be up there in a minute. And then don't show up. It had gotten to the point where, I just sat on the toilet. I just sat there for a minute because I was like, I don't want my clothes to get messed up. And you utilize what you try to utilize, tissue paper, all that type of stuff. Um, but it was bad. Um, and after going through that and dealing with those COs and how they treated us, and even once we got to the housing unit, um, it was just horrible. For people to treat other people the way that they treated us. It was just horrible. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, honestly. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Um, if you're in that position and you're working those jobs, please treat people with respect, best way you can. And I know sometimes people who are locked up or what have you, or they've done, really horrendous crimes and things like that. At the end of the day, they're still a human being and they have needs, right? I've dealt with the worst of the worst working in prisons and working in jails. And you still have to treat them like they're human beings. So I go through all that. And actually, out of all of that, was a class action lawsuit that I was a part of and ended up um, winning and getting a little payback from that. So I got a little bit of retribution. just a little bit, enough. So I thank God for that. So now I'm in there, right? 45 days. So I go in the middle of November. So while I'm in there, I miss Thanksgiving. All right, Cooper. I miss Thanksgiving. I miss Christmas, Christmas Eve. And I come out January 1st, 2009, right? So January 1st, 2009, when they told me that was my release date, in my head, I was like, that marks a new beginning for me. I gotta make some changes. I gotta do some things. I gotta stop this drinking. And just to back up a little bit, I told you I think the very first podcast, my mom had passed when I was 19. So I was still kind of not kind of, I was still dealing with that. And I think that's why I had started drinking and doing all of that. But it led me to this incident, right? It's been plenty of times where I drove home drunk from hanging out with my friends or doing whatever. But this time I crashed my car and that ended up in a bigger circumstance situation than ever before. You have to excuse me. My dog is, I normally lock them up, but I left him out today. So he's bothering me a little bit, but he's all right. Um, so yeah. So now I'm in there for 45 days. Thank God for my grandmother and my aunt and my brother and my cousin. They came to visit me. I was able to call them from day to day. I had even talked to a couple of my friends. I was able to remember their numbers. Back then, you could still kind of remember people's numbers. Now, I think maybe it's only two numbers I'll be able to remember if I had to. But I was able to remember a couple of numbers. I was able to call people, and you talk to them. You're like, hey, "How you doing?" in there? I'm like, "I'm okay. I'm okay." So I thank God though that nothing bad happened to me in the jail, as far as SA or anything like that. Nobody bothered me. I didn't get in any fights or anything. I saw some fights. Saw some stuff, saw some inmates, taking their pills and crushing them up and doing all that type of stuff. Like, I saw some things. I wasn't a part of any of it, but I saw some things. Um, and I learned a lot from that experience. And some of the guards in there, and even some of the other inmates that were in there with me. I know this one older lady, she was like, she would call me baby girl. She was like, "Baby girl, what you doing in here? You do not belong in here. What are you doing in here?" And I would tell her, I told her what happened about my DUI and everything. She was like, "You got to change that. When you leave here, you leave and you never come back." And I tell you, recidivism is something, because while I was there for those 45 days, I think I saw at least two or three people that left and came right back. One lady, she left out and she was gone for 24 hours. 24 hours and came right back. And I was like, I can't live that life. I can't be in and out of jail. This is a one stop shop for me. I'm done after this. I'm telling you, I'm done after this. So, that encouraged me for her to say that. And she would say that to me almost every day. And fun fact about my jail experience, um, that's actually where I learned how to play spades in jail. I learned how to play spades in jail. See, growing up in my family, they weren't really card players, right? So we didn't sit around playing spades and things like that. We played board games and, laughed and talked and hee and ha ha and all that. But we didn't play spades, or pretty much any other card games, maybe Uno. But that was because, I grew up in a family that was very religious, very spiritual, so my grandmother, she thought any type of playing cards outside of Uno was, gambling. So there was no spades playing around her, right? So I learned how to play spades in jail. I learned how to play spades with, four people. I learned how to play two-hand spades because me and my cellmate would play. She taught me how to play during downtime, during lockdown time. So that is how I learned how to play spades. So if you see me playing spades, you're like, "Oh yeah, I remember what you said on your podcast. You learned in jail." Yeah, I did. I learned how to play spades in jail. So yeah. So I had some good takeaways from that experience. um, and also, you know, looking at some of the other women that were in there, and thank God too, they had a split up. I was over there with the misdemeanors, obviously, and the felony offenders were on the other side of the wall. Thank God, because I didn't want to be around the aggravated assaults and the all of, couldn't do that. That's too much. And you could hear them fighting through the wall like crazy too. They had fights like almost every day. Oh my God. Um, but we had little petty fights. A lot of women around each other after a certain amount of time, frustrations kick in and things get crazy. But again, like I said, I was never a part of any of those fights. I didn't have to fend for myself like that. I stayed out the way. I kept to myself, and that's how I was for the most part. I played cards, we watched TV, did all that. And I remember the meals on Thanksgiving and Christmas. Um, One of the guards gave me an extra piece of pumpkin pie because she felt sorry for me. And she was another one. She said, "You don't belong in here, baby. You go ahead and you leave. When you leave, you better not ever come back. I better not ever see you in here again, Bishop." I'm like, "Yes, ma'am." You know. Um, but I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And we have Bible study in there. So I had a moment to sit and get myself together and focus in on the wrong that I had been doing, and focus in on dealing with my bereavement. And I guess being in jail for me was a form of counseling. It was, for me, honestly, I felt like that was my rock bottom. I truly felt like that was my rock bottom, because I'd never been to jail before. You know what I mean? Never. The only thing I ever had was a speeding ticket, and that's because I put the pedal to the metal. I love driving fast, and I slow down some, but that's all I had. Traffic citations. Um, but that experience really grounded me and gave me a real reality check. If you keep this up, you'll be back. If you keep this up, this is where you'll end up. If you keep this up, you get what I mean? So it helped me realign myself. And I thank God for the church, the women's ministry that would come in and would sit with us and read the word with us and would pray with us, because it really gave me a lot of strength while I was in there. Because if that wouldn't have happened, I probably would have been worse off. I probably would have been worse off. So I thank God for that women's ministry that came in. Um, so January 1st, 2009, I get out, right? And, for me, I got out, and I remember my grandma and my auntie, my grandma came and picked me up. I remember my brother was sitting in the back seat. And when I got in the car with my grandmother and sat in the passenger seat, all I could do was cry. All I could do was cry. It was so many mixed emotions. It was, I'm so happy that I'm out, but then it was, what do I do now? Right? Because I was a little lost, and I was very confused. Um, Very confused. Didn't know where I was going to go to get a job. Didn't know. But one thing I could say, once I got out on January 1st, 2009, I was done. I was done. I walked out of that county jail and I didn't look back. And even when I got in the car, I closed my eyes and we drove off. I didn't want to see that place anymore. Right? I'm done. Jail? Mm-mm. But then later on, I ended up getting a job working at a prison and then working at a county jail. Right? Okay. But at least I'm on the other side this time, and I'm making money to be there. I wasn't there for a penance. Um, but yeah, it was a rough time for me getting back. And thank you to my friends, my friends, Angel and Nikki. I remember they took me out, and we went out. I think it was the first weekend that I was out, and took me out, and that helped me a lot too. So I appreciate them, and I appreciate all my other friends and family who gave me encouraging words and who were there for me and prayed for me. And I'm grateful to my church family where I was going with my grandmother, and I'm also grateful to my church family of Pillar of Love. who lifted me up in prayer as well. Shout out to Bishop Phyllis Panese, who was there for me to help me get back on my feet as well. Because it was a rough time for me, and like I said, when I first got out, I did go through a bout of depression because I'm a worker, and I'm like, I need to find a job now. I need to start back making money. I need to, get back to my life. And it was hard for me to put the pieces together to try to figure that out. And this is back. I don't know if Chicago still has the red eye paper, but I used to get the red eye paper. I used to get the Tribune, and I used to look through the classifieds for jobs. I'd be on Indeed. I'd be on Monster. I'd be all over filling out for jobs. And because I was fresh out of college, right? Fresh out of college with a DUI. And any law enforcement agencies, fire department, correctional, all that, they weren't going to touch me at all. I remember I applied for like two police departments, and both of them told me, do me a favor, you have to wait at least 5 to 7 years before you apply for any law enforcement position whatsoever, because no one's going to take you with this DUI on your record because you're fresh and you have no other prior experience in law enforcement. So having went to school for criminal justice to get a degree in criminal justice and then being told that crushed me, right? So it's a whole nother bout of depression that set in. When I tell you I was going through. So I go through all that, and finally I catch a break, and I get a job, and I'm working, making some money. And fast forward, time passed by, and I started working security. Now we're in 2012. I started working security, and then I got my first law enforcement job in 2012. Thank God for that. And one of those things is when you work in law enforcement, when they do your background check, and first off, they give you the background packet to fill out, and you have to write out everything. And if you miss anything and they find it on your background when they run it, they deem you as unreliable. Because why didn't you tell us this up front? Why didn't you tell us? So any application I ever filled out, even till this day, I still have to tell them about my DUI. So when you're young, if you're a young person and you watching this, make smart decisions in your youth. Seriously, because a lot of things can carry on with you for the rest of your life. So even now, like I said, if I was to apply for a law enforcement job and they ask me, have you ever been arrested? Have you ever been charged with anything? I have to put yes, and I have to write down what it was, and I have to put the dates, I have to put where I was, how much time I served, all of that. Thankfully, there's enough time, and I already have law enforcement experience in my background where they still consider me and still hire me. But coming fresh out, it was a no no, right? So I said all that to say this. I thank God for that experience because again, it helped me get my life together with everything that was I was going through with the passing of my mom. It helped me get my drinking habits together. I had like completely stopped drinking for years because of that. Because I was like, I gotta stay. I not necessarily stay sober, but I'm like, I can't get drunk. I can't do that, especially can't drink and drive. This can't be my life, right? I don't want to go back to jail. I don't want to do that. And with me wanting to have a career in law enforcement, I had to stay away from that, right? Um, so again, the empathy that I received from being inside the jail and being arrested by police officers made me a better person, a better officer, a better correctional officer, a better police officer, and a better detective because I had so much empathy for people that I dealt with every single day. And I didn't see them as their crime, I didn't see them as their offense. I saw them as a human being and treated them as such. And that's how everybody should be treated. And I know it's rough sometimes. You have some people out here that, like I said, do some horrible, horrendous things, but they still uh, are deserving of due process, just like everybody else. And at the end of the day, they're human. People still need to eat. People still need medication or medical treatment if they have anything going on with them, right? People still need clean uniforms, right? It's so many things that you have to take care of for an individual that's in jail because they can't take care of it themselves. They're a ward of the state now. They're a ward of the county, right? But I thank God. I truly thank God for that experience. Everything that happens for a reason, guys. And I needed that experience in order to get myself together and get my life straight and get my head on straight, right? So I hope that what I told you all will help you in some way, shape, or form. I really do. And I know some of you probably learned a little bit about me. Some of you didn't really know because it's not like I talk about it all the time. It's not like a badge of honor or something that that I hold, but it's an experience that I will take for me, and I don't mind talking about it because, like I said, maybe I can help somebody else who's been through the same situation or who's currently going through a situation like that. Um, but it's something I never forget, something I don't ever want to experience again, and that is one of one of the many stories that you'll hear about in my book. Of course, like I said, it's going to be in much greater detail, but I think I'm gonna do this a little bit more often. Don't know how often, but I feel like whatever is a part of me that I can share with you all and give you all bits and pieces of me, right? Because we all go through things, we all go through struggles at different times in our life, and it's important to know that this too shall pass. Whatever it is that you're going through right now, just know and understand that this too shall pass. And I'm so grateful for the time that I was serving and all of that I went through back then. Um, I was able to hold on to that while I was inside to know that this too shall pass and to know that I had an end date is really what truly set me free. To know that my end date was January 1st, 2009. I know we have problems and we don't have an end date for our problems. We don't know when our problems are going to be over, right? We're just living day by day, going through things. And it's like, God, please help me. But know that He's never left you, He's always going to be there for you. And again, this too shall pass. When it's going to pass, it's not up to you to decide that. Figure out, do you need to learn a lesson from what you're going through? Is it something where you need to stop and sit for a moment and chill out and figure out what's going on in your life? Is it one of those lessons that you're going through? Or is it something that you need to figure out, right? So take your lessons and the things that happen in your life, take time and dissect them, figure out, why am I going through this? What's happening to me? What's going on? God, what are you trying to tell me? Right? In that moment for me, it was, you need to get your life together. All this drinking and partying and all this extra stuff, this not you. You want to come back to jail? This how you want to live your life? In and out of jail? Yeah, no. Because that's not for you, daughter. That's not what I have for you. Right? You continue to go down that path, that's what you'll get. But I have something planned much better for you. And God has something planned much better for you. So whatever it is that you're going through right now, understand that this too shall pass. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Thank you all for tuning in and listening to my little story and allowing me to give you a piece of me. Um, I really hope that you all got something from this and learned something about me. And I can't wait. I'm getting started on this book. I'm telling you, I can't wait to get it out there so you all can hear even more and learn even more about me and hear more about the testimonies of God in my life and all the things that He's brought me through. And when I say things, oh my God, He's brought me through so much. And when I tell you, It's so many things that I could have been locked up for still, even after that. But by the grace of God, amen. By the grace of God, He brought me through. And look at where I'm at. Well, look at where I'm at today. Right. So glory be to God for everything. So again, thank you all for tuning in. And as always, you know what I'm about to say. Your crown may be tilted, because it sure was when I was in jail. Your crown may be tilted, but never ever let it fall. Peace and love.